Okay, I'm going to do a quick husbandry video for my Lasiodora itabunae. This has become one of my favorite tarantulas in my collection. I sexed it out as a female about a half a year ago, 6 months ago. This was one I originally bought from Ken the Bug Guy back when I was kind of trying out different species, and I was kind of on a giant spider kick. Saw that he had some slings for sale. Well, what ended up happening is I ordered what was supposed to be an inch and a half sling, and I was sent a 3.5 inch, what turned out to be a female. Now, at the time, I figured I just probably got sold a spider that was a male that he just didn't know what to do with. I tend to be the untrusting sort. I should have known better. Ken would not do that. They don't check the sexes of these things. However, as it got bigger and bigger, I found out that you couldn't find these guys anywhere, and I really kind of fell in love with the species. I love the coloration. If you look, it kind of has the reddish sadie on the abdomen, and you can see the color is almost like a gunmetal blue to the rest of the body. I just really love the look of them. Just a gorgeous spider, big spider. Now for these guys, voracious eaters, I'm going to drop a roach in about 2 seconds, and you can see it eat. Hopefully it'll eat. Apparently it's, oh, well, this could be video of one drinking. It looks like it's drinking now. It's right over the water dish. As far as how to keep them, just like an LP, just like the regular Lasiodora parahybana, I like to moisten down half of the substrate every once in a while, but she does perfectly well with it dry. It's not something to stress over. When I first got her, I was trying to keep the sub really moist, but this is one of these species that can really adapt to different situations. So it's starting to get cold here now. The furnace is on. I want a little bit of extra humidity in the tank. So what I do is just take that right there, which has holes in the top, and use it to basically make it rain on one side of the enclosure. And I have noticed at different times she will basically hang out on the moist areas of the enclosure. I'm going to go ahead and try to drop what's going to be a Madagascar hissing cockroach in for her to eat. We'll see if she goes for it. There she goes. Now at least she'll be occupied with that. I have her in an acrylic enclosure. I originally bought these things. I think it's Lorex Plastics. I'll have to put a little note on the video to correct myself if it's not right. I believe they were called tarantula enclosures. They also made reptile enclosures. Um, I like. She's one of my favorites, and she's one of my showcase spiders. I love having her out and about. So I think the money was well spent in that regard. I will say a couple things that I'm not completely pleased with. As it got older, it kind of shifted out of shape, so the edges don't quite line up. You know, it's a little bit crooked, which not a huge deal, but it's, look there, the edges not quite flush. Also, the metal vents are going to have to go. She's already tried chewing on them a couple times. I've already had to replace metal vents on the LP's enclosure because she just plays with them, chews with them. They can chew out of these. It's not an issue. So people, they're like, oh no, it'll be fine. You can see how she's kind of mutilated it there. So I will be replacing these with plastic vents. Feeding wise, I think I started talking about this before and stopped. They eat like machines. They eat a lot. This one gets 4 or 5 adult crickets a week easily. I usually feed her once a week, or a big roach. I've actually gotten the Madagascar hissing cockroaches because some of my bigger species, the dubia that I also feed them, are just not quite big enough. So I went for something a little bit bigger. So they do eat like machines. Temperatures, like with all my species, 70 to 76 in the wintertime. I do have a space heater that I keep going. Actually, I keep talking about it. There's the space heater, which I actually have going now because it's a little bit chillier in here. It's easier to heat just the whole room. In the summertime, we're talking about mid 70s to low 80s. It usually doesn't get much above 82 very often. This room is nicely insulated, so I can really kind of control what the temperature is going to be. Just a fantastic species. Unfortunately, I believe the full-grown size of these to be between 7 and 8 inches. Like a lot, like some of the species that aren't readily available in the hobby, it's tough finding good information on these guys. What I am hoping to do in the future is breed her. I still think if she gets 7 or 8 inches, right now she's about a good 6.5 inches or so. She's not quite full grown. Jamie's just put up a mature male on her website. I would love to breed this thing, but the mature male, I believe, is 7 inches, so it would be a little bit bigger than the female. And if I were to lose this female to, a bad breeding attempt, I would be absolutely heartbroken. So I think, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to wait and hope somebody else puts one up. But I will say, since I sexed this one out as a female, I have yet to find anybody selling these things anywhere. It's like they're just not very prevalent in the hobby, and it's a shame because, quite frankly, I love LPs and all, but it's a better looking spider than an LP. Kind of has a lot more personality in my LP, and I'd really like to see it get more out there in the hobby. Setup, used to burrow as a sling like most of the Lasiodora species. As she got older, abandoned her burrow. She's got a hide, never uses it. There's where she molted last time. There's her molting mat. She did molt inside of it for the molt before that. But besides that, she's never inside the thing. Always out and about. Great showcase spider. Always keep water available. This is one that I have seen drink. And besides that, that's it. Just regular room temperatures. They grow fine. They eat like machines. They gain a lot of size in between molts. Would not ever attempt to hold this one because they have a fantastic feeding response and a huge set of fangs on them. So she is a little bit feisty. She is one that actually, when I went to drop a cricket in one day with the tongs and I wasn't paying attention, jumped up and grabbed the cricket out of the tongs, which is a little unnerving. But just a gorgeous spider. I do hope that these guys get more into the hobby, because quite frankly, I would love to see them out there more than just the LPs. They're kind of a dime a dozen. Again, no hate to the LPs, but just there are other species out there people could raise. So there she is, the L. itabunae, or itabunae. I'm not quite sure which way it's pronounced, as with most of the scientific names. Gorgeous spider. I would say this one's an intermediate level one. If you're used to larger, feistier teas, this is a good one. And one more thing, as a juvenile, she actually used to flick hair quite a bit, has not flicked hair as an adult. So the L. itabunae, great species.